Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ryan in Singapore. Welcome to our mindfulness practice. We have been working through the 9 attitudes of mindfulness-based stress reduction, and we're finally here at the last one, which is generosity. And I think generosity appropriately appears at the end because a lot of times, we have to have something to give to be able to give it. Not to say that, before these 9 attitudes, we've cultivated the other 9 attitudes that we can't begin to start practicing generosity. But I kind of want to think about, when we think about generosity, often the first thing that comes to mind is like monetary generosity. And the way I want to think of it is in a larger kind of view of generosity, that it's not just related to what we can give monetarily, that there is a lot more to it. And I think that generosity can be really satisfying and be kind of the capstone of our practice, as we think about what it is that we can give, and think about the interconnectivity of the world and of humanity, that we all have things in common with one another, and in a way we touch every single other human being on the earth by our acts of generosity. So let's go to the most simple act of generosity that I can think of, which is smiling at another person, right? And smiling at another person is a generous act, an act of kindness, right? When I smile at another person, that might make that person just a little bit happier, and that causing this person to be a little bit happier, maybe they smile at someone else, and we see that these kind of outward ripples can continue throughout the entire population of humanity, right? That we don't know how far these ripples go. And so one small generous act may have consequences that we can't fathom, that how far they reach. And similarly, an act of cruelty also has these kind of far-reaching impacts that we cannot ever fully be aware of the impact of those acts. And so, and as I look at, and as I was considering the 9 attitudes before I got started, I kind of feel like generosity is this one that kind of lies outside of the rest. That even though it is integral, and we'll see actually that part of our practice is about compassion, and this self-compassion is a form of generosity. But you can see that compassion and mindfulness are in different kinds of realms of meditation. That mindfulness really is this paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally, and compassion is an active practice where we're actively taking on the feelings of others and thinking to ourselves, what can I do to be of most service in this moment, right? And this is the definition that I always use for compassion. What could be of service right now? And you'll find that this does line up with generosity. What could be of service right now? What can I do right now in this moment to make this world a better place, to make this person, to help ease the suffering of this person in front of me, to help relieve my own suffering in this moment. All of these are examples of generosity, And I think this is really the way to look at generosity. So, starting with ourselves, what can I do to ease my own suffering in this moment? So, what compassionate thing can I do? And the reason I want to say that this is kind of the capstone of the practice is that you'll discover that the more that you practice, the more that you get to know yourself, get used to being with yourself, the deeper the well becomes, right? The more that I learn about compassion and mindfulness, the more that I understand myself and my own struggles and my own suffering, the easier it's going to be for me to be able to be compassionate and to begin to relate to those people around me, or to give back, right? Whether it be in, as sharing your mindfulness practice with someone else, and I do want to be cautious in that some people have a particular resistance against this practice. I know that I don't. I'm cautious to pay attention to the effect talking about mindfulness has on others, so that I don't end up being unaware and talking about something that is that someone has completely shut off from. So do be aware of that. But this is the other thing too, right? You don't have to be explicit about your practice and say, like, this is what mindfulness is. This is how mindfulness is going to help you, right? I always remember Anne Lamott's quote about helping, right? That helping is the sunny side of control. That a lot of us help for self-serving reasons. That we want to help because the way that it makes us feel, sometimes a feeling of superiority. Similarly with gratitude, with generosity. Generosity isn't about saying, I am a generous person. Look at all that I've done. Look at all that I've given. Look at my name on these buildings, right? Like what an amazing philanthropist I am. But that it is with this intent to better all of us, all of humanity, to know that the effect that we have can be far-reaching, and that one act of kindness that we do can have these far-reaching effects. And I do think that there's some kind of interconnected consciousness, right? I don't and I don't want to get into some kind of like pseudoscience or belief, but and I do think it has to do with our actions. That it's not something psychic that's going on. That our state of mind as a mass of human beings, as humanity, it does have some collective thing going on, right? We are, globalization is over because of, whatever, right? More populist kind of governments are coming up, right? And I don't think this is a coincidence. I think this is something that, it's not happening in just one place. It's because of our interconnectedness, and it's not a psychic thing. It's just how human beings are. That it's obvious, and of course the internet has an effect that my actions are observable and affect you. Even if you don't hear my words, maybe even my body language and all the people that I associate, all of this is interconnected. So your generosity has a significant impact, and I don't think it is to be um, I don't think it is to be minimized. So, hello everybody. Dirk says giving generously versus accepting it. Dirk, if you don't mind, can you expound on that? I don't. Giving versus accepting generosity in this context. I would love to have a little bit more depth there if you don't mind. And in the meantime, let's get into our meditation. And in the spirit of generosity, we're going to do a little bit of compassion today. So get yourself comfortable. If you like, allowing your eyes to close. And let's begin distilling our mind, or begin this time together with a little bit of mindfulness. So focusing on the breathing. As best you can, fully being aware of the inhalation and the exhalation. Continuing to focus on the breath. If you find your mind wandering away to thoughts, as best you can each time a thought comes up or any other distraction, can we just be aware of that distraction? Be aware that we have been distracted, and then gently letting it go and coming back to observing the breath. And beginning to tune into our own state. How it is that we have arrived here today. Now, who it is that's here today. What version of me is sitting here now? Noticing the state of the mind. Are we agitated? Are we calm? The state of the emotions. The state of the body. And can we open our hearts to the person that's here now? To know that right now, in this time, this is who is here. And this person may be depressed or anxious or stressed out. This person may be calm and relaxed, at peace. It doesn't matter. This is who is here now. And I can open my arms and my heart to her, him, them, whoever's here. Accepting yourself just as you are in this moment, knowing that you don't have to be any better or different. That in this moment, you are exactly the you that you are supposed to be in this moment. You don't need to be anybody else. In fact, you can't be anybody else. You are you. And you're going to be you right now. And the only time we have is right now. The present is the only moment we live in. And if you're waiting for the ideal you to show up, well, why wait? See if you can love yourself right now exactly as you are. And maybe commit to yourself, to loving yourself as you are in every moment. Imperfect, yet perfect. Perfectly imperfect in this moment. So whatever judgments you have about yourself, is it possible to put them aside? Commit to loving yourself unconditionally, as best you can. And so as we practice this, sometimes we have feelings. We have feelings of warmth in our heart. We may have other feelings. But know that there's no right way to do this practice. There's nothing you should be feeling. After all, however you're feeling is however you're feeling in this moment. Why not open to it? Whatever it is. And so for some of us, what can be helpful as we work to practice compassion towards ourselves and others is to repeat a few phrases. So if you like, you can repeat the phrases that I'm about to repeat, or you can repeat to yourself whatever phrases are most helpful for you. So as we open our arms, our hearts, our loving kindness to ourselves, perhaps these phrases can help. May I be happy and contented. May I be happy and contented. May I be safe and protected, free from inner and outer harm. May I be safe and protected, free from inner and outer harm. May I be healthy and whole to whatever degree possible for me. May I be healthy and whole. May I be at peace. May I have ease of well-being. May I be at peace. May I have ease of well-being. And so, after all this talk about generosity, we spend so much time on ourselves. That's because this is the foundation of our generosity. Learning first to be generous with the human that is the closest to me, which is, of course, myself. And so now, with that in mind and remembering how much we have in common with all other human beings, all of us want to be happy. All of us want to feel safe. All of us want to be healthy. And all of us want to feel at peace. Is it possible to reach out, to bring into mind others who are close to you? Perhaps family, friends, could be co-workers as well. Reaching out to those who I find similar to myself, be those in my neighborhood, those of the same belief system as I. Reaching out your compassion towards them, wishing them well, wishing them happiness and peace. And seeing if you can extend to those who are suffering, those who don't have enough to eat or drink, those who are sick and dying, those who are in prison, justly or unjustly. Is it possible to extend your compassion to every human being in this world? And so if you like, repeating after me. May we all be happy and contented. May we all be safe and protected and free from inner and outer harm. May we all be healthy and whole to whatever degree possible. May we all be at peace. May we be at ease. And so reaching this compassion out generously sending well wishes out to all human beings across the world. May we all be happy and content. May we all be safe and protected and free from harm. May we all be healthy and whole. May we all be at peace and at ease. And now observing the feelings that you may be having, what emotion you're experiencing, the physical sensations in the body, perhaps those that accompany the emotions you're having. And again, maybe there's nothing there. Maybe when you search for this, it feels blank, just open to your experience, whatever it is. And finding the breath once again. Feeling the breath moving in and out of the body. And then as you feel ready, beginning to open your eyes and transition out of this period of practice, and I'll close our practice with 3 rings of the bell. Okay. Thanks everybody for being here and for practicing with me and with all of us today. How'd practice go? Any questions or comments? We're going to move into this period of sharing and reflection. Okay, I'm going to look. I asked Dirk a question here before about giving versus accepting it. Is believing, maybe I accept generosity without knowing why and what is the purpose, and I guess that's that's the question, right? That this is the other side of generosity. Is it possible to receive generously? In what way are we given things? As we receive, can we do so without feeling some sort of obligation or or heaviness about it? Is it possible to, well, of course, one thing we should do is also see if we can understand the intention of what it is that we're given. And what's that? The saying, "What to whom much is given, much shall be expected." And I kind of live by that as well. I think the better off my life gets, the more I go, I feel like this. It's just something I need to do to be able to give back, and especially through my experiences. I think this is one one of the best ways for me to give back. I have experienced this, suffering X, and so therefore, when I find a person who is also experiencing suffering X, can I be there for that person? I think it's more than just helping, understanding. I mean, that's compassion, right? Like, what can I do to be of service? And often, what I do find is people go, hey, I've been there. I know that. Here, let me tell you. I'm going to tell you all the best things. Like, here's how you can solve all your problems because, I went through this 10 years of my life and it was the hardest thing I ever went through. So here's the solution to all your problems, right? Whereas most of the time, that person's not going to benefit from that. That there's probably another way to approach it, to be able to give your experience generously, and a lot of it is silence and knowing, kind of observing the situation. What is, how is this person, what is this person going to receive or be able to receive in this moment? Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your participation. And I guess the challenge today, let me give you a little challenge, is what do I have? What are my assets? How can I be generous? What of those assets can I use generously? And so maybe look around and as you consider that as well, is it possible to smile at that stranger today, at the bus stop, at the grocery line, just to generously give something ever so small but important and impactful? All right. That's it. I'm heading off. It's a spring break for my kids. I'm heading off to Hong Kong for about a week. I'll come back beginning of April. We'll start with a few tips about regular practice. So I'll look forward to coming back. It's I think April 2nd in my time. So we'll see you then. And in the meantime, let's once again, I always like to close with well wishes, even if we've done a compassion practice. Let's send our well wishes out. Thanks, Micah. Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thanks, Rosa. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, Jean. Thanks, Dirk, for participating today. I really appreciate your questions and comments. Let's send out our well wishes. May I be happy and peaceful. May everyone watching, listening, wherever you are right now, I wish you all happiness and peace. And may all of humanity across our globe, may we all be happy and peaceful. All right. Lots of love to you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.